opportunity. Sometimes it's what you thought it'll be, and you can have a, you know, a PR person pushing your message. You'll have other people pushing your message, but then sometimes you get these random things, random acts of God or lack of, whatever, that also allows you to speak and have a great message and presence all over. Yeah, I think you just never really know. You gotta be open.
Absolutely. I think, yeah, I kind of touched on this earlier, but I feel like when you're a music organization that's serving young people, it should be the young people who dictate kind of what the brand voice. I think it's a collaborative effort. I think it needs to be a collaborative effort in that way where you're sharing the mic, you're passing the microphone around, because it doesn't just take one voice to create, to make or materialize the programs that we're putting into place, or, you know, to build this arts organization, or to share creativity, or to write a song, or to, you know, put out an album. I think that specifically for Berklee City Music, it's like we try to pair our ideas and also like get inquiry from our students about like what they want to say on the platform and make a space for that. I also think that like our staff speak into it a lot, and our college students speak into it, and even our students across the network, like we're trying to find ways to highlight folks on a global level, because like we have a whole global network. Like there's so many different stories to be told, and I think that if we can be like a conduit or a vessel for which those stories can be told, like I think that's our responsibility as an arts organization. And I think in my other work for In Session specifically, you know, I built that organization with 2 friends, and then I hired actually 2 Berklee City Music alum as freelancers to help me build the org. And we had, you know, we had 1,200 applicants from like 33 countries during the height of the pandemic in September 2020, who logged on for 7 days to be a part of like music production programming, just because people were like, listen, I like want to learn how to produce, or I already am a producer and I want more resources and I want to connect. And a lot of what we posted during that time was just their work, you know, and it was really at the hands of, you know, myself, Muñeca Diaz, who's also an alum, Bailey Lawson, who's an alum, as well as my collaborators, Jada and Vanessa. And we were the audience we were trying to speak to. We were like, listen, we're all musicians, but like we want to learn how to produce, and we're feeling a little insecure about doing that in some of the more traditional environments we've been in. So let's just create the thing that we want to be in. So I think that really like leveraging that type of spirit of just like creating the types of communities online or offline that you want to be in, and passing the mic around and making sure it's reflective of who's actually a part of the thing you're creating. So yeah.
Hello, hello. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Both of y'all have been dropping gems like this whole session. And, you know, I just want to like open it up to the floor if anybody has questions for Keon or Sam. So yeah, now's your time.
You gotta, I mean, ultimately for me, you gotta do what you do. If you make music, put it out there so people can hear it. Nobody can really guess who you are. You have to show them. You gotta lead them to the water over and over again, not once. Next week, then a week after that, then in 6 months, then in a year. You gotta keep recreating yourself over and over again, as an artist. And as an artist, the social media is literally another microphone for you, of you saying what it is that you want to say. again, you put something out there and it's fire. Like if you send me your video and I'm like, that's dope, I'm sharing it to over 100,000 people instantly, and you'll probably get 1,000 fans just because people trust what I think. And again, that's the brand. So I say, you know, to build that community, do what you do, and other people will start to see the impact that you have, especially if it's solid. I heard you. I don't think you're gonna have a problem.
Yeah, so I think for Berklee City Music, I mean we're affiliated with a college that a lot of people follow. So I think that when we post content, they'll repost us, and then people understand where we sit in relation to Berklee College of Music. But I also think that we do things like we'll do paid social, which I don't think is a bad idea, just to get like a couple extra eyes. It helps you can select the demographics that see your work, and it helps to just give you a little boost so that more eyes are on it, and then like Keon said, like the right person might see it and then they repost it, and that way you get more followers or just more people that will support your work. And I think that it's really like I've been talking a lot about like communal effort, communal care. I think there, I talked to you yesterday. I said, hey, we filmed you. We want to tag you. And like, I think it's just about helping each other as well. Like Berklee reposts us. I think we try to repost students, and then hopefully like they even repost stuff of students of all areas of our program. And then whoever is following us, including, we have really amazing ambassadors like Keon Harold, who reposts us all the time, and he's always supporting. And we have Tia Fuller, who's our artistic director, who's like an incredible saxophone player, but also a professor at Berklee. We have Michael Refreso, who's head of production at Beats by Dre. Like we have a lot of people that are in our corner, that are their whole allies, and their whole purpose is to be advocates in spaces in which we aren't, and then we're advocates for them in spaces in which they aren't, right? It's a reciprocal relationship. So I think paid social helps. I think us reposting you on City Music Boston helps, and also network. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Are there any more questions or? Oh, yeah.
Afternoon. Thank you all for sharing your knowledge and experience with us. So I appreciate that. Side note, with regards to the investing money into social media, I know for our nonprofit, they do offer like $300 a month. I think Facebook does. So I mean, if any of you don't take advantage of that, you may want to look into that. With regards to the question, in specific to my organization, when it has so many different facets, I find difficulty with people who realizing and knowing everything that we do as an organization. How can you guys have anything that you can potentially use to really tell a full story? Because when it's so dynamic, you have so many different moving parts. How do we kind of focus on each part, giving it the right amount of time, but at the same token, being able to allow people to have like an all-encompassing view of what we do? A lot of people go to our social media, don't know what we do. They might just think that we're just this or that, but it's not all encompassing. Is there anything that I could potentially do or share with my team to give it more in that sense?
I mean, Berklee City Music is, I feel like this has been kind of an ongoing thing for us, because like as we've expanded and as we've grown, it's like, how do you keep up with the pace of the expansion as well, and communicate it, and actually execute the partnerships and fundraise? It's a lot to juggle, so I acknowledge you for trying to do all of that. I think that the thing that we're trying out, because it's all about trying things, right? Like we haven't mastered it yet, or we haven't perfected it yet, rather. We are just trying to, like, each month, or within the first kind of each quarter of the year to introduce like a new facet or an existing facet of our program and try to contextualize it with a caption or just keep on doing it as a series. So it's like, for example, we did a photo shoot over the summer with our network students when Chris Hudson actually was a part of that photo shoot, as well as many students from across the network. And we took their headshots. We gave them those files as well for their personal use so they could use them for their portfolios. And then we also rolled out a series where we asked them a couple questions about themselves to share with our audiences to say, hey, we have a whole network of students. It's not just Boston. Here's who they are. Here's like an insights about what they want to share about themselves, and continuing to do it month after month so people know that that's an aspect of our program. And then also for, City Music Boston, doing that with the teachers, right? And then I think eventually we'll do that with our global partners and start to expand on that. But I think it's just figuring out kind of like recurring series that you can put up on your social media or your website. And then also I think it's like really just doing a clear breakdown, and we're doing this right now and deconstructing it, but like let's like doing a full kind of assessment of like all you offer, and then figuring out how to in bite sizes like tell that story. And I also think that you have to remind people over and over and over again. We can't just do it once and expect it to stick. Like we have to keep telling people what we do, and keep telling it to them like it's the first time that they're learning it too, and remembering that everyone's coming from a different touch point or entry point or perspective of what they want to get out of our program or how they're going to engage with it. So yeah, and also realizing like you don't have to do it all at once, so you can break it down, and I think it's important to do that to make it manageable. Yeah.
Just because I feel like we've done so many, hello, English. We've had so many meetings, which we're super lucky to have the time to do that. And I'm grateful that I have this job, to like explore that within myself. And I'm a student, I'm an alumni. So work with your students because they'll bring in a perspective that just an administrator, a teaching artist just won't have. Just because they didn't have that experience. So I think back to involvement, involve everyone. Even if you don't have money to allocate to a student job, you can still have a meeting, and that's still an experience that the student is getting that they can add then to their resume of what they've done. Worked for an organization, that's super cool. Help with strategic planning, like involve them in that. But I'll finish it really quick. One thing you didn't say, but you like alluded to, is like content buckets. That's a visual that has helped us so much. Saying, okay, who are we? What are all the things that we offer? Like, we are like, it's like that chart, the circle that has all like the web chart, the spider chart. Your core is the name of your organization. All of the things that come off of it are all the things you do, all the people you serve, your stakeholders, and the programs that you have, and all of that stuff. All of those have the potential to be content buckets. So anytime you either organically happen upon videos and images and things that just naturally can like relate to those things, create something where you can keep track of that, and like folders where you can store all of those things so that you're building up an inventory that you can use, so you're not scrambling, oh God, we haven't posted this week, let's stage a photo. It's like, no, we have stuff to post, we have inventory. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is you can start to create things because now you're thinking strategically, oh, we see we have a content bucket that says administrators. But when was the last time we've highlighted our administrators on our page? We've never, sometimes in an org, you just don't think to tell their story too. And that story is equally as valid as the students because it's giving a full, holistic image of who you are. And that's interesting. And like Sam just said, you don't know who's on your page. You don't know if it's a student, a parent, a teacher, another educator. They're all looking to get that full story. It doesn't just have to be about one thing. So yeah. I think we had one more question and then we might have to wrap after that.
Yeah, so I was just curious to see how you guys approach
patient with your pivots. And what I mean by that is that you talked about keeping it 100 and keeping it authentic. And as you explore, especially as creatives or creative thinkers, as you explore, discover, and then identify with that discovery, you have to be patient as you change, right? Like, you know, you talked about being a musician and then getting into a role that could potentially lead you to corporate. How do you then become patient with yourself, but then also your audience? So you start posting things that are more leaning to something new that you discovered about yourself, but it didn't get the 100 likes or 200 likes you did when you were performing. Or maybe you're having something with you and your son, right? And it gets family photos and images do really well, but then you do something that's fashion and you get 4 likes, and then you feel like, well, I'm not going to do that anymore because it didn't get the response that I was looking for. So what advice would you give someone who's in the process of transitioning but being patient with themselves as they consistently grow and explore new things?
I mean, I think the answer is in what you just said. It is patience, and it's a process that you have to respect and know that it didn't take you, 2 weeks to get to the career that you got to. It took you how many years? It took you how many decades sometimes to get to the point of your career, whether that be artistry, whether that be a org or whatever. It took you a long time to come up with that idea, live that with people, live that with the experiences, to now all of a sudden you have this new facet that you want to go to. You got to know it's just like raising a child. It's going to take you some time. It's going to get there, so be patient and graceful with yourself in that process. And I think that's the way to just hold on to that, to just know that this is new. I'm trying new things. I'm trying new ways to put myself out there, whether that be totally different or just a new facet or with a new group or whatever it is. Take your time, and know that just like you made it to this one plateau, you can make it to another one. It's just small steps. A journey starts with one step. You'll get there, slowly but surely. Slowly but surely, I think.
I think so. Yeah, this is a really great question because I think it's something that we face at every stage of our development and careers and just development of our personhoods, right? And I think that it's really important as you're trying new things and posting things, and even without a camera in front of you, just giving yourself the permission to try new things and be a new version of yourself or iterate on yourself. It's great to receive a bunch of likes, and it's not realistic. Like, that's not always going to happen. And also, I think the whole point is, like, do you feel able and willing to give yourself the validation for trying? I think because we're not always going to get the response that we want, and we're not always going to get a ton of affirmation and off the bat, and I think that you have to figure out how to move past that transition moment that Jay's talking about. Is like, when you're trying something new, like you're experimenting with proof of concept. You're like putting yourself out there, seeing what sticks, seeing what doesn't, and seeing how it feels somatically in your body. You're feeling, is this right? That's the gauge you should be paying attention to. And I think that if people do end up really liking it, like for example, for City Music, like we will post a lot, and sometimes things hit, and sometimes they don't, and sometimes like 5 people like it, and we'll have like 4,000 followers, and we're like, dang, nobody saw that. We like spent all day writing that caption, or like, Angelina's like, I spent all week editing that video, and it's just kind of, and the whole point is like, well, we're doing it because whoever did like it genuinely wanted to see it, and like we're doing it because we want people to hear and know our story. And even in our personal brands, I think we can speak to that, but like, we're also putting it out because it's just an extension of like who we are and what we genuinely want to share out of like a love for the thing. And I think that's the source all the time, is like the love for the thing, and that's where the tenacity and the dedication comes from. And anything that's being shared should be out of a desire to like, just, I think, communicate and connect, and also let somebody know that like it's okay to be vulnerable, it's okay to share yourself. Yes, that is a really important part of the story. And so, yeah, that's where I'm gonna end it.
And I guess just on that, it's like at some point we also have to ask, who is the judge? And a lot of times that judgment factor stops us from actually realizing our fullest potential, because you're worried about, oh my God, if I post this, nobody's gonna like it. Or if I do this, everybody's gonna like it. And then they don't like it, and then you're like, oh my God, it's over for me. No, it's not. Sometimes it takes time for not just you to be comfortable with your new skin, with your new size, with your new swag. Sometimes it takes other people to get time to get used to. You know, a lot of times, especially as your audience grows, you have to repost the old stuff because most people didn't get a chance to see the old stuff. They don't know how you started. They don't know the beginning of the brand. They don't know the beginning of, you know, your happenings. But now you caught me when I was at 50,000. You don't know who I was when I was, you know, busking on the streets. You don't know that. So that's also important to not get dismayed when everybody doesn't get the point right away. Give them time, give yourself grace, give them grace, and eventually, if you keep being honest, that truth will start to show through and people will get with what it is that you're trying to do. I believe that, you know.
We're gonna wrap it here. Thank you all for attending. #What'sMyBrand. I hope you all feel a little bit more confident in telling yourself what your brand is. It's as simple as just being like, literally, who am I? What do I like? And what organization am I a part of? What do they like? Who are they? And it grows from there. And I hope you all learned so much from what these two phenomenal individuals shared. And they'll be here if you have more questions. Yeah, and definitely follow us at City Music Boston.
Give it up for Chris and Angelina. Yes.
And follow Keon at Keon Harold. And his name is spelled on that back poster if you're looking for spelling. Thank you all. We have another session, but I think a quick break. And Erin will be back to announce the next thing. She's here.
I'm here. Yes, next session is at 3:30, so take a little break, maybe walk outside. I feel like it's getting a little stuffy in here. Go get some fresh air, and we'll be back here at 3:30. Thank you.